Okay, so today I'm gonna go through a few things. Don't mind my spot on my shirt. I'm gonna go through a few of the recipes that I throw together pretty regularly, and hopefully it can be helpful to somebody. So I have started chopping up some cucumbers. I have some, they were huge. The cucumbers are huge. So I actually, when I sliced them, I even cut them in half because they were so big. And then I've also put some as spears. So I'm going to finish cutting this last one, and I'm just gonna do some more slices. I'll try to talk while I'm cutting the cucumber. These are garden cucumbers, and I'm trying to knock a lot of stuff out today from the garden, get some stuff frozen. I've never canned before. I'd like to learn how, and I don't have any of the equipment to do it, but I've kind of started looking into it a little bit. I'm actually out of my mason jars right now, so I will not be putting these in mason jars. I am just putting them in containers in my refrigerator until I can get some more jars. So I have little glass containers that I'm going to put some in, and these will be like bite size. I should have done bigger containers probably. I would have been thinking about it. This one's a little bigger. Let's see how many can fit in here. I'm gonna have to also just put some in a baggie for my kids to have for snacks throughout the week. They like to just grab stuff. I like to have stuff that's healthy for them to just grab. So we're gonna basically fill it to the top. And I'm just gonna put a few more in here. And the rest I will throw in a container. They'll also just pull these and eat them as snacks during the week. So I have all my containers right here. Now we are going to take, I've got a pot, and I'm going to show you what I put in the pot. You do have to boil the mixture that you pour over the containers. I'm going to use vinegar. This is white vinegar. I don't always use a specific brand. Usually it's just an off brand, but this is what was on sale. About 2 cups, maybe a little bit more of vinegar. And I put just a tad bit more water, so about 3 cups of water. And then I am going to add some salt. I'm just using sea salt. I've used pink Himalayan salt before, but I'm just gonna put some salt here. And of course that's to your preference, how much salt you would want in there. These are all dill. I have made sweet pickles before. We tried some ranch ones. I didn't particularly like the ranch, but my daughter really liked those. And just a little, maybe like a couple of tablespoons of sugar. And then you're just gonna boil that until the salt and sugar dissolve into the liquid, and then you'll pour it over your containers. So now I'm gonna show you what we're actually going to put in these containers over top. I'm sorry if you hear my dog crying in the background. She wants me to come see her. What we're actually gonna put in these. We're going to put some peppercorns, and I'm just going to sprinkle some. Oop, that might be a little bit too much actually. Not too much, right? I measure with my heart all the time. I like to use fresh dill. I accidentally killed my dill outside. I don't know if it's gonna come back or not. So we're using this jarred dill. I'm just gonna pop the top off of it because you want a generous amount of dill, especially if you're making dill pickles. So I am heaping it in a pile on the top. I'm gonna show y'all once I get everything on. And then we're gonna put some garlic. I have a huge container of already minced garlic. I do have fresh garlic that I use sometimes. This, because I'm trying to use it So for the bigger container, I'm put a heaping amount of garlic on. I like garlic in my stuff. It gives it a good flavor. So now again, I'm gonna show y'all once I get this on these so that you can see about how much. And if you want some of that juice in there with it too, that is perfectly fine. And so that's what I put in the recipe for it. And when it's done, I will show you what it does. I'm gonna turn this around here so you can see. So if you look, it's got the garlic and the peppercorn. These are the spears, and then I also have the slices, and you'll pour the liquid over, and I'll show you that once it gets melted. Okay, so as you see, you can see the salt and the sugar in the bottom. It is definitely starting to dissolve, and I'm gonna give it another minute or two. It does not have to be boiling at all, but I just like it to mix good because you can see the salt starting to settle again down at the bottom. So we want to let it dissolve all the way, and then we will pour it just over the tops of these. The other things I'm going to be working on today is all these tomatoes that I'm going to cut in just a minute. See, some of them have bad parts. This is my box of tomatoes that I'm going to cut the bad parts out and use for stewed tomatoes, to freeze, to use for sauces, for fall and winter. And then if we go over here, I have a huge box of green beans that I'm going to be snapping and boiling and then freezing. And then this is a box of lima beans, which I've never done the lima beans before, but I mean, I've eaten lima beans, but I've never shelled lima beans. And if you see, these are the nice big Ford hook looking lima beans. So these are beautiful. They're gonna freeze well too. So we're gonna work on that. Let's go back over here and see if this is about ready. Gosh, my dishwasher is not sounding good over there. This looks like it's about ready to pour on. So I'm gonna turn the gas off. A little hot, so I'm gonna grab it with a rag, and I think I'm gonna have to turn my dishwasher off because it sounds like it's breaking. And then I am just going to pour this over top of these. You don't want it to go all the way to the top of the container. I'm telling you, that dishwasher sounds horrible. And I had just the right amount of liquid. So there you go. These are going to be our dill pickles. I'm going to let these cool off, and once they're at almost room temperature, I will put them in the refrigerator, and they'll be good for up to a few months. Okay, so now I'm starting on the tomatoes. I will say, none of the cucumbers were from our garden. The tomatoes, the green beans, and the lima beans were not from our garden this year. There's a local farm here that I bought these in bushels from. We have been getting tomatoes, but not the amount. We didn't plant enough to get the amount to, we have frozen some. Like, I've made some salsas and some sauces that I've put in the freezer, but we have not yielded the amount that I wanted to. So I am boiling or stewing the tomatoes. You can dice them how you want to. Right now I'm dicing them in chunks about this size. I am leaving the skin on. I like the skin on my tomatoes. If you do not like the skin on your tomatoes, you can fish them out after they boil. It's pretty easy. I'm not boiling mine in a lot of water though. I'm going to show you in just a second what I'm doing. But I cut out any of the bad spots. If you see, there's some on the ends here. The rest of this tomato looks beautiful. Some of the tomatoes have been worse, but I literally just cut the ends off, and I cut them in whatever sizes. They're going to stew down, and then I will freeze them in freezer bags in my freezer, and I will pull them out when I want to make a spaghetti sauce or a chili or a sloppy joe sauce or salsa or sauce for some tacos, lasagna, any kinds of sauces, a red sauce. I will pull a baggie out and heat it up, and I can add any sauce. I have some that already have seasonings to it, but these will not. These will just be tomatoes, stewed tomatoes, and then I can blend them up if I want them to be finer. I just decided this year I'm not going to dice them any smaller. I'm just going to dice them in chunks because I end up cooking them down. They cook down some now, and then I end up cooking them down more once I pull them out. But what I was going to say is, I'll have to tell y'all after I freeze them and put them in bags and everything, how many it makes. See, this one, if you look on the inside, it's got some bad in it, so I'm going to have to keep cutting down until I get past that, or I could core it out. Now I see where the bad section is, so I can chop that part off. Anyway, I bought a box of these, huge box, for $12. You can not buy, I mean, I don't know in the grocery store now, because I really haven't purchased tomatoes from the grocery store. I've been buying them from farmers markets or different friends, or growing my own. But I know that I could not buy that many tomatoes, a whole huge box full, for $12. And if anybody knows, the kind of clean tomato sauce that I buy in the grocery store would cost around $4, $5, $6 a jar, maybe more. And I paid $12 for a whole box of tomatoes, and this will make probably I'm guessing around 10 bags to use, but I'll have to update. But that is a huge savings. So I paid $12 for the huge box of tomatoes. I paid $18 for the huge box of green beans. And remember, these are all no harmful chemicals sprayed on them. They're all clean, organic, fresh food, veggies. And then the lima beans, I paid, I think, $8 for the box of them. So if you don't have a garden, or don't have the means to grow a huge garden, or weren't successful with your garden this year, or didn't yield as much as you wanted to, and like me in my case, then I urge you to call your local farm or a local farmer's market and ask them if they'll sell them by the box, because I saved so much money for our family doing this. So now I'm going to show you I don't have this pot done yet. I have to finish cutting it. I can't get the water open. So here's my pot that I'm going to work on right now. I am literally only going to pour enough water to probably make an inch or so in the bottom of the pot. I only want enough to kind of get them going. And you don't have to put any water if you don't want to. I just put a little bit. And then I'm going to turn my gas on about a medium level and let them start cooking down. And when they get nice and cooked down so that they're nice and tender and not hard anymore, then I will turn the heat off, let them cool a little bit, put them in baggies and freezer baggies, and label them and put them in my freezer. Once I get some labeled and popped in the freezer, I'll have to give an update on my stuff. The next thing we're going to do is make my laundry detergent. I was trying to make a few things so that you could watch it all in one video, and now I need to see if I can set y'all somewhere so that you can see what I'm doing. That is not going to work. Let's do this. Oh, it's such an ugly. Okay, so this is empty. This is what we used to use all the time. Sorry, my dogs. But I'm going to show you what I do. I think I'm going to show you if my dogs will stop barking. I'm going to make it in this container and explain again. really measure it out. You will very seldomly ever see me actually measuring stuff. I've used these boxes before, so these are the things that we're going to use. We're going to use borax. You need a container to mix it in. I'm not making my, I've seen people make them in huge, like huge storage bin containers so they don't have to make it so often. But the container that I used last time, I will be right back. Take two. So the supplies you need, like I said before, the neighbor children love to live at my house. So, and that's fine because my kids enjoy them being here. And I enjoy them being here too. They're all wonderful children. So the supplies you're going to need is borax. I use Arm & Hammer laundry booster, so super washing soda, some type of super washing soda. And then the other one that we're going to mix in is just regular baking soda. I buy my baking soda in bulk. And then I also use this Castile soap. I just had some peppermint scented ones. I usually get unscented, but these were on sale. So while they were on sale, I purchased two. I like to get sales. So this you're not going to mix in, but I'm going to tell you what we do with this. And any size container you want to, this just works for me to mix it in. And I'm actually not making as much as I did last time. But last time I filled this container right here. I used this container to mix, which is about the same size. And then I just poured it in here. I mean, I could have kept it in here, but visually I liked how this looked better. And I just have a little, this was just a little Tupperware like storage thing that I had that I used to put in mine. Well, I'm gonna keep it out because I'm about to pour some in there. But so now I'm gonna just show you how to make it. And get y'all set up, girl. You're getting really beautiful. Okay, so I have about half a box of this borax box left. It comes to about right here, so it's about half. I'm going to pour the rest of that into this. I'm not going to measure it. I usually use a whole box of the borax and a whole, making a mess, and a whole box of the super washing soda, but I only had half a box. And actually I have like a quarter of a box of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to add as much of this time. I'm going to just do a quarter, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but usually I would use equal parts. But I do have another box up there, but I actually want to make sure that I have it for next time. So we're just going to use what we have, which is half of a box, a quarter of a box. And then you're going to do approximately an equal amount of baking soda. I'm just going to pour that in here. I think I am without making a mess, but looks like I'm probably going to make a mess though. Yep. Alright, I spilled some. You know, you can't do it without spilling any. Close the container back up. And then the reason why I use this like this to mix with, because you can pop the top back on and then just shake till your heart's content to mix the three together. And then I'm just going to pour it. Don't breathe it though. I'm going to pour it in the container that we are putting it in. And like I was saying before I stopped the last video, when we made this last time, it filled up the container, and we have been using this for, we made it in May, mid-May, So we've been using it for 2.5 months, and we weren't quite out. Like we probably had another couple of weeks. I'm gonna turn y'all around. So it made almost half a container, and then when I wash clothes, I just get about half of this container. So if you see how big this is, I mean, you don't need to use a lot. I just use about half of this and sprinkle it in my load of clothes, and then I use a cap full of this, or just pour a little bit in. I usually get unscented, and then I use an essential oil. I like to use the citrus smell. Sometimes, what else have we used? Lavender. I mean, you can use any essential oil smell that you like. This one, even though it says peppermint, does not have a strong peppermint smell, so I've even still been adding some essential oil. So that's how I make the laundry detergent. This half amount, I'm sure will last us at least a month and a half, maybe longer than that. And again, saving lots of money, because you can go look on, I probably should have looked ahead of time, but you can go look and see. I get mine from Sam's. They have them in Walmart in these big containers. You can look and see how much this is. And then these boxes of these two things, you probably can get in bigger sizes. I just got these from my local grocery store. But I'm telling you, compared to paying, I probably used to pay at least $20, probably more than that, for this container of the pods. And they would not last us. We do more than a load a day. And this right here tells you this, if you did a load a day, it would be 4 months, but we do way more than a load a day with a family of 5. So there you go. There's how to make your own laundry detergent with saving a penny. Okay, so I've got tomatoes everywhere. This pot has not started yet. I've still got more to chop. As you see, this one I have just started stewing. I just turned on. The bottoms of them are getting a little, some of these darker tomatoes are just a different kind of tomato. They look old, but they are not. They are fine. But this is what I wanted to show you. So here's some that I'm getting ready to turn off. Now, if you notice, when I pull my spoon up, there is the skin. So it's that easy to get the skin out of your tomatoes if you don't want it. I'm leaving them in there just because I like it for some things, but literally, I mean, almost every time I put my spoon in, you see there's some skin. So I just wanted to share that it was that easy. I'm turning this one off now because I'm going to get ready to put it in the bags, and I'm going to finish up. There's my pickles still there, and I've still got this amount to do. And these are the different colored tomatoes that I was talking about. But that's all for today. Tomorrow I'm going to try to make some bread. I need to make some bread to store up, and I'll try to do an update on all the stuff that we've put in the freezer and talk about some savings on some meat. So if there's anything else you want me to touch on, just let me know, and everybody have a great night.